Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is genuinely great to have you here with us today.
Absolutely.
Before we really start unwinding the topic, I have one small but very important favor to ask.
Oh, yeah.
If you are enjoying these dives, if you're getting value out of the way we unpack these complex topics and finding those aha moments, please just hit that subscribe button right now.
It really does help.
It's the single best way to support the show. It helps us grow, and it, ensures we can keep bringing you these breakdowns.
It tells the algorithms that we're doing something right.
Right. Also, don't forget to check out our website. We've got a ton of resources there that complement what we talk about here, including the raw text of the statutes we're discussing today.
Absolutely. It really makes a difference. And we appreciate every single one of you who follows along. We are, building a community of curious minds here.
Okay, business aside, let's set the scene. I was walking outside this morning, just looking around, and it hit me. We live in a world that is entirely dependent on invisible signals.
That's so true.
I mean, think about it. Right now, data, voice, images, vast sums of money, it is all flying through the air and pulsing through wires all around us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a second atmosphere that we breathe but we never see.
It is the nervous system of modern society. And because it is so valuable, because it carries our secrets, our wealth, our communications, it is also a massive target.
A huge target.
If you cut the nerves, the body stops working.
Exactly. And that is why today we are doing a deep dive into Texas Penal Code, Chapter 33A, Telecommunications Crimes.
Right.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Penal Code. Sounds dry, sounds like homework. But trust me, this is fascinating.
It really is.
This isn't just about hackers in hoodies sitting in dark rooms typing furiously.
No, not at all. That's the Hollywood version. The reality is much more nuanced.
We are talking about clones.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about tumblers. We're going to look at the legal difference between a harmless prank call and a felony.
Uh-huh.
We're going to see how the law tries to wrap its arms around technology that changes, every 6 months?
If that. And that distinction between the prank and the crime, the tool and the weapon, is actually finer than you might think.
I bet.
What we are doing today is taking this dense legal text, Chapter 33A, and we are going to dummy it down.
I love that phrase.
Our mission is to translate this into plain English so you understand exactly what constitutes a crime in the world of telecommunications.
Okay, dummy down the legalese.
Yeah.
So here is the roadmap for today. We're going to start with the definitions, basically the tools of the trade.
Gotta know the vocabulary.
We need to know our vocabulary. Then we'll move to the insider threats, the people working inside the phone companies who hold the keys to the kingdom.
One's on the inside.
Then we cover the black market workshop, the manufacturing of illegal devices. After that, we'll discuss general theft of service, which applies to, all of us. And finally, we will end with the laws regarding spoofing.
Fake caller IDs.
Fake caller ID.
It's a comprehensive look at how the law protects the signals we rely on. And some of the concepts like aggregation and verification costs are absolute game changers for how we understand liability.
So let's jump right in. Section 1, the glossary of the underground. This covers Section 33A.01, definitions.
The building blocks.
Right. Before we can talk about the crimes, we have to know what we're actually talking about. So what counts as telecommunications in the eyes of the law? Because I assume in 2026, it's more than just a landline telephone sitting on a kitchen counter.
Oh, it is vastly broader than that. If you look at the definition in subsection 5, telecommunications covers the origination, emission, transmission, or reception of data, images, signals, sounds, or, and this is the catch-all phrase that I love, other intelligence.
Other intelligence. That sounds like spycraft.
It sounds mysterious, doesn't it? But it's meant to be future-proof. The legislators back in the 90s knew technology would evolve, so it covers any method, electronic, magnetic, optical, digital, or analog.
Any method at all.
So, whether it's a fiber optic cable carrying stock market data at the speed of light, a radio wave carrying a text message, or an old copper wire carrying a voice, if it is carrying intelligence or meaningful data, it falls under this chapter.
So the net is cast very, very wide. Basically, if information is moving from point A to point B, it's telecommunications.
You got it.
Now, the text makes a distinction between a telecommunications device and a telecommunications access device. I feel like those sound like the same thing. My phone is a device that accesses the network.
Yeah.
But legally, they are different.
Very different, and the distinction is crucial for understanding the crimes later on. A telecommunications device defined in subsection 7 is the hardware.
Machine itself.
It's the machine. The text lists things like computers, chips, circuits, telephones, radios, modems.
It even lists pagers. I saw that.
It does. The law was written in 1997, so you see some of that legacy tech like pagers and
A
modems.
little bit dated.
A little, but it also includes transponders and receivers. Basically, the physical tool you hold in your hand or have on your desk. Now compare that to the telecommunications access device in subsection 6. This isn't necessarily the machine, it's the key. Yes, the key. This covers the means of access. The text lists cards, plates, codes, account numbers, personal identification numbers, PINs, electronic serial numbers, or mobile identification numbers.
Okay, let me see if I've got this straight. My smartphone, the glass, metal, and silicon slab, that is the telecommunications device.
Correct.
The SIM card inside it, or more specifically, the unique code programmed onto that SIM card that tells the network, "Hi, I'm me," that is the telecommunications access device.
Precisely. You nailed it. One is the vehicle, the other is the ignition key.
I like that analogy.
You can steal the car, which is the device, or you can just steal the key, the access code, and drive someone else's car. And the law treats them as distinct elements because you can commit different crimes with either or both.
Now, this is where it gets really fun. The definitions section includes some terms that sound straight out of a cyberpunk novel or a hacker movie from the 90s.
This is the good stuff.
The text defines a counterfeit telecommunications device.
Right. Subsection 2. This is where we get into the freaking culture phone freaking.
And it lists specific types of counterfeit devices, clones, towers, and wireless scanning devices. I need you to break these down because Tumblr sounds like something from a Batman movie, and clone sounds completely sci-fi.
It does have a certain flair to it, doesn't it? So generally, a counterfeit telecommunications device is any device that has been altered or programmed to acquire service without consent.
Okay.
But the specific examples tell us about the methods used by criminals to beat the system. Let's start with the clone.
A clone telephone or a clone microchip? What is that?
Right. A clone is exactly what it sounds like. It is a device that has been reprogrammed to perfectly copy the identity of another legitimate device.
So it's a perfect twin.
It's a digital twin. Every phone has a unique fingerprint, an electronic serial number or ESN. If I can copy your fingerprint and put it on my phone, the network thinks I am you.
So 2 phones, 1 identity.
Correct. When I make a call on my clone, the cell tower checks the ID, sees it belongs to you, and connects the call. At the end of the month, you get the bill for the calls I made to another continent.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Just wow. And then there's the tumbler.
A tumbler is an evolution of the clone. If a clone is a disguise, a tumbler is a shapeshifter.
A shapeshifter.
A tumbler telephone or tumbler microchip is designed to change its identity constantly.
Like it's tumbling through disguises.
Exactly. It changes its electronic serial number or mobile identification number, often rapidly, to avoid immediate detection. See, the phone companies got smart.
Right.
They started blacklisting cloned numbers. So the hackers built tumblers. The network might flag a number as fraudulent and block it, but the tumbler has already rolled the dice, generated a new serial number, and reconnected as a completely new person.
It stays one step ahead of the banhammer. That is wild.
It's an arms race.
It really is. And then there's the wireless scanning device.
This is the reconnaissance tool. This is how you get the information in the first place.
The spy.
The spy. It scans the frequencies to acquire, receive, or facilitate the use of a service. It's often used to snatch those identification numbers right out of the air.
How does that work?
You sit in a van near a highway. The scanner picks up the handshake between a legitimate phone and the cell tower, grabs the serial number, and then you take that number and program it into your clone or tumbler.
So the scanner steals the identity, the clone wears the identity, and the tumbler changes the identity to hide. It's a whole ecosystem of fraud.
That is a very effective way to put it. It's a supply chain of illicit access.
There is one more definition in this section that I think is interesting. Publish. Subsection 4.
Yes. This is crucial for the internet age. Super important.
Usually when I think publish, I think writing a book or a newspaper article, but here it seems much, much broader.
It is. In the context of telecommunications crimes, publish means to communicate information or make it available to another person. It specifies orally in writing or by means of telecommunications.
Okay, so talking counts.
And interestingly, it explicitly includes communicating information on a computer bulletin board or similar system.
Computer bulletin board. Again, showing its age a little bit. That's the old BBS days.
A little bit, yeah.
But clearly that applies to modern platforms, internet forums, the dark web, Discord servers, Telegram channels, anywhere people share info.
Absolutely. If you post a stolen access code on a Reddit thread or a private WhatsApp group, legally, you have published it under Chapter 33A. You don't need a printing press, you just need a send button.
Okay, so we have our glossary. We know the hardware, the keys, the illegal tools. Now let's talk about the crimes themselves. Section 2, the insider job. This is Section 33A.02, unauthorized use of telecommunications service.
This section is fascinating because it is targeted. It is not for the general public.
Right.
It is for a very specific group of people.
Who is in the crosshairs here?
Subsection A lists them out. Officers, shareholders, partners, employees, agents, or independent contractors of a telecommunications service provider.
So, the people who work at the phone company, the people who run the internet service providers, the cable guy who comes to your house.
The insiders. The people who have legitimate, often physical access to the infrastructure. They have the passwords, the keys to the junction boxes, the admin rights, the keys to the kingdom.
And what is the crime they are committing here?
The crime is knowingly and without authority using or diverting telecommunications service for their own benefit or for the benefit of another.
Okay, so let's paint a picture. I work for a big cable company. My friend Dave moves into a new apartment. Dave is broke.
Dave's always broke.
Right. I go into the provisioning system at work and switch on all the premium movie channels and the gigabit internet for Dave, but I don't set up the billing. I'm just hooking a buddy up. That's this crime.
That is exactly this crime. You are an employee. You are diverting service for the benefit of another, Dave, and you are doing it without authority. You are leveraging your insider status to steal the product.
It seems like a victimless crime to some people, just flipping a digital switch. Nobody physically lost a TV, but the law treats it as theft.
It is absolutely theft. You are stealing bandwidth and content that has a real monetary value. And the punishment depends heavily on how much you stole.
Right.
This introduces the value ladder or the punishment ladder that we see throughout this chapter.
Right. Let's unpack this ladder. Because the difference between a slap on the wrist and a felony depends entirely on the dollar amount.
It does. It starts at the bottom. If the value of the service used or diverted is less than $500, it is a Class B misdemeanor.
Okay, what does that mean?
That's the lowest rung up to 180 days in jail.
Okay. But what if I hook Dave up for a whole year? Or what if I hook up 10 friends?
Then the value goes up. If it is between $500 and $1,500, it becomes a Class A misdemeanor. But there is a catch.
There's always a catch.
If you have a prior conviction under this chapter, even a theft under $500 becomes a Class A misdemeanor.
The law doesn't like repeat offenders.
It certainly does not. Now, once we cross that $1,500 threshold, we enter felony territory. From $1,500 to $20,000, it is a state jail felony.
A felony for giving away free cable.
Yes, a felony. You lose your right to vote, you have a permanent record, and you could serve time in a state jail.
Wow.
And it keeps climbing. $20,000 to $100,000 is a third-degree felony. $100,000 to $200,000 is a second-degree felony. And if the value is over $200,000, you are looking at a first-degree felony.
That is serious time. A first-degree felony is the same category as some very violent crimes like aggravated kidnapping or attempted murder.
It is, and you might think, how could I possibly steal $200,000 worth of phone service? But think about data.
Right.
Think about enterprise-level bandwidth. An employee diverting a massive fiber optic line for a private server farm, maybe mining cryptocurrency using the company's power and bandwidth, could hit that number very, very quickly.
That brings up a really important question about how they calculate that value. Suppose I just steal a little bit every day. Maybe $50 worth of service a week for Dave. I never hit that felony threshold in a single day. Am I safe from the big charges?
No, you are not. And this is a massive takeaway for our listeners. This is where subsection C comes in. We call it the snowball effect, or technically aggregation.
Aggregation. What does the text say?
It says that when service is used or diverted, pursuant to one scheme or continuing course of conduct, the conduct is considered one offense. They can add up or aggregate the value of all the service diverted to determine the grade of the offense.
So my $50 a week, Let's see, over a year, that's $2,600.
which bumps you from a Class B misdemeanor straight into a state jail felony.
Whoa.
They don't charge you with 52 tiny thefts, they charge you with one big theft.
Ouch. So the salami slicing method, taking thin slices over time, doesn't work here. They just add the whole sausage back together.
Exactly. They look at the total value of the scheme. If you hook up 10 friends for 2 years, suddenly you are looking at a third-degree or even second-degree felony. The math is brutal.
Okay, so that's the insider threat. Now let's move to Section 3, the Black Market Workshop. This is Section 33A.03, Manufacture, Possession, or Delivery of Unlawful Telecommunications Device.
This section shifts the focus from the person using the service to the person creating the tools to steal it.
Going after the source.
This is about the supply chain of cybercrime. The law knows that for every one person building a clone phone, there are 1,000 people who want to use them. If you can stop the manufacturer, you stop the downstream theft.
Okay, so what does it say? The text says it's an offense if a person manufactures, possesses, delivers, offers to deliver, or advertises a counterfeit telecommunications device.
Right, and notice the verbs there. Advertises or offers to deliver.
I saw that.
You don't even have to sell it. If you put up a listing on eBay or a dark web forum saying, I have a clone phone for sale, you have committed the offense, even if no one buys it.
The offer itself creates the liability.
That's it.
And it also mentions devices intended to conceal the existence, origin, or destination of a service.
Yes, that targets devices used to mask calls or data transfers, often used in harassment or other illicit activities where anonymity is the weapon.
But here's the part that I found really striking. Subsection B. It's not just about the hardware, is it?
No, not at all. Subsection B makes it a crime to deliver or advertise plans, instructions, or materials for manufacturing these devices.
Plans and instructions. So if I don't sell the device, but I sell a PDF manual titled How to Build Your Own Tumbler Phone, that is a crime.
Under this section, yes. It treats the knowledge, the blueprints, just as harshly as the weapon itself. If you are distributing the how-to guide, the anarchist cookbook for telecom fraud, you are liable.
And what is the penalty here? Is there a ladder like the other section?
No ladder here. This is a flat penalty.
Oh.
Subsection C says an offense under this section is a felony of the third degree.
Wow. So it doesn't matter if the device steals $1 or $1 million. If you built it, it's a third-degree felony. Flat.
Correct. The law is taking a hard line against the source of the problem. If you manufacture the potential for crime, you get a felony. No questions asked about the value.
Is there any way out? What if I'm, I don't know, a security researcher?
Mm.
Or working for the phone company trying to test the system? I know white hat hackers build these things to find vulnerabilities so they can patch them. Are they felons?
They are walking a tightrope, but there is a specific defense built in. Subsection D.
Okay.
It says it is a defense to prosecution if the person is an officer, agent, or employee of a telecommunications service provider who is engaging in the conduct for the purpose of gathering information for a law enforcement investigation.
The double agent defense.
Essentially.
Yeah.
If you are making a clone phone because the police ask you to help them catch a drug dealer using clone phones or to understand how a new criminal ring is operating, you are protected.
So you have to be working with the cops.
Yeah. You have to be doing it for that specific investigative purpose. You can't just be a hobbyist testing the network for fun without authorization. You need that official cover.
Got it. Intent and affiliation matter. Okay, let's move on to Section 4. This is probably the one that applies to the broadest group of people. Section 33A.04, Theft of Telecommunications Service.
This is the general theft statute. This applies to the end user, the person who actually uses the stolen service to avoid paying for it. This is you and me.
The core definition here seems pretty straightforward. Knowingly obtaining service to avoid a lawful charge. But the text lists 4 specific ways this happens. Let's break those down.
Sure. Subsection A1 is using a telecommunications access device without the subscriber's authority.
That's stealing someone's calling card number or Wi-Fi password without asking. Simple enough.
Right. But it also includes using it pursuant to an agreement for an exchange of value with the subscriber to allow another person to use it.
Wait, unpack that. Exchange of value.
It means if I pay you to let me use your stolen account or if we have some other kind of deal.
Okay.
Even if I have the authority from the person holding the device, if that holder is not the legitimate subscriber, or if it's an illicit agreement, it's still theft. It prevents the argument of, well, I bought this password from a guy, so I didn't steal it.
You can't buy legitimate access from an illegitimate source.
Bingo. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. The chain of custody matters.
Then CA2 and A3 are using the counterfeit items we already discussed, using a counterfeit access device, which is the fake card or code, or a counterfeit telecommunications device, the clone phone or hardware,
And the fourth one?
using a fraudulent or deceptive scheme, pretense, method, or conspiracy or other device or means, including a false, altered, or stolen identification.
That is the catch-all.
The big one.
Fraudulent scheme. That
Yeah.
covers social engineering, right? Like
Yep.
calling up customer service and pretending to be someone else to get free service.
Exactly. Even if you don't use a high-tech tumbler, if you use your voice and a lie to get service you didn't pay for, you fall under subsection A4. You hacked the human, not the machine, but the crime is the same.
Now, regarding punishment, I see we are back to the value ladder.
We are. It is identical to the insider section. Less than $500 is a Class B misdemeanor, all the way up to over $200,000 being a first-degree felony.
But there is a very specific nuance in how value is defined here. We talked about the value of the service avoided, like the cost of the Netflix subscription you stole. But Section 33A.019 defines value to include something else, right? Something about verifying equipment.
This is a huge point that often catches people off guard. This is the hidden trapdoor in the law.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, under the definitions, value obviously includes the charge you avoided. It includes money or property lost. But subsection C says value includes an expenditure incurred by a victim to verify that a telecommunications device or service was not altered, acquired, damaged, or disrupted.
So the cleanup cost.
The verification cost,
The-
the cleanup cost. Let's play this out. Let's say a hacker breaks into a corporate network. Maybe they don't actually manage to steal any data or make any calls. They just break in, look around, and leave.
So the stolen service value is essentially zero, maybe pennies in electricity?
Theoretically. But the corporation's security system flashes red. They realize there was a breach. They panic. They don't know what you did.
Right. They have no idea.
Did you leave a virus? Did you open a back door? Did you copy the client list? They can't just assume you were harmless.
So you have to check.
They have to check everything. They hire a cybersecurity firm to audit the entire system, check every server, and verify that no backdoors were left behind. That audit, the forensic accountants, the overtime for IT staff, costs $250,000.
Oh, wow.
That $250,000 counts as the value of the offense.
You're kidding.
So that hacker who stole nothing is now facing a first-degree felony because of the cost to verify the system's integrity.
That is a massive deterrent. It basically says if you touch it, you pay for the safety inspection.
Exactly. It recognizes that in the digital world, the loss of trust in the system has a dollar figure attached to it. It effectively weaponizes the victim's panic response against the attacker.
Yeah, it is a crucial insight. Okay, moving on to Section 5. We've had insiders, manufacturers, and thieves. Now we have the sharers. Section 33A.05, publication of telecommunications access device.
This circles back to that definition of publish we talked about earlier, communicating information.
The text says a person commits an offense if the person with criminal negligence publishes a device or access device designed to be used to commit theft. Criminal negligence. That sounds like a lower bar than intent.
It is much lower. Intent means you wanted to cause the result. Criminal negligence means you ought to have been aware of a substantial and unjustifiable risk that the result would occur.
So if I post a list of working access codes on a public forum and I say, hey, just sharing these for educational purposes, wink, wink, but I know people are going to use them to steal service.
You are likely being criminally negligent. You are creating a risk that theft will occur. And a reasonable person would know that.
The disclaimer doesn't help.
Your disclaimer is just window dressing.
Fallacy.
Generally, a Class A misdemeanor. However, if you have a prior conviction under this chapter, it jumps to a third-degree felony.
So don't share the codes. Simple
Well-
as that. The first time is a slap. The second time is prison.
Simple as that, don't do it.
Now we get to a section that I think every single listener will appreciate. Section 33.051, false caller identification information display.
Yes. The spoofing law. This was added much later, in 2019. It addresses a modern plague, spam calls with fake numbers.
We've all had this happen. You get a call, it looks like it's coming from your local area code, maybe even your own neighborhood.
Oh, every day.
You pick up, thinking it's the school or the plumber, and it's a robocall about your car's extended warranty.
Exactly. That is spoofing. Displaying data that misrepresents the actor's identity or number. It's called neighbor spoofing.
So is all spoofing illegal now in Texas?
No. And this is the key. Subsection A requires a specific mental state. The person must have the intent to defraud or cause harm.
Intent to defraud or cause harm. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, So if I use a service to call my friend and make it look like I'm calling from the White House just to play a joke, and we laugh about it.
Unless you are causing them harm or trying to scam them out of money, that likely doesn't fit the statute. The law isn't trying to outlaw pranks, it's trying to outlaw scams.
Right. But if I call and spoof my number to look like the IRS so I can scare them into paying me,
That is intent to defraud. That is a crime.
clear cut.
Or if I spoof my number to look like your house, call 911 and claim there's a hostage situation, that is swatting, and that is definitely intent to cause harm.
And what is the punishment for spoofing?
It is a Class A misdemeanor.
Okay, so not a felony. There's an interesting note in subsection C here. It says, a conviction under this section may not be used for enhancement purposes under any other section of this chapter. What does that mean?
Usually, as we saw in the other sections, having a prior conviction makes the next punishment worse. It enhances it.
Right.
This clause says that a spoofing conviction stands alone. It doesn't trigger those felony upgrades for other telecom crimes. It's a bit of an outlier in that regard, treated more like a nuisance crime than high-level infrastructure theft.
Now, there are a lot of people who need to spoof numbers for legitimate reasons. Does the law account for them?
It does. Subsection D lists the defenses. First, blocking your own caller ID like dialing 67 is fine. That's a privacy measure, not fraud.
Okay, good. That's a relief.
Then you have the professionals. Peace officers and federal law enforcement on duty can spoof. Intelligence and security agencies can spoof. They need to do that for undercover work.
That makes sense.
Telecommunications providers themselves can do it if they are routing calls or configuring services. Sometimes the network needs to mask a number for technical reasons. It's just part of the plumbing.
And there was one more specific group mentioned that surprised me.
Yes, private investigators.
Yeah.
Subsection D5.
Whole PI.
If a private investigator is licensed under Chapter 1702 of the Occupations Code and is lawfully conducting an investigation, they have a defense.
That is interesting. So a PI might need to call a subject and not have their real office number pop up. They can spoof the local pizza place number to get the guy to answer.
According to this statute, yes. The law recognizes that as a legitimate tool of the trade for licensed professionals.
Finally, we have Section 33A.06, the enforcers. Assistance by Attorney General.
This is a short section, but it signals how complex these crimes are. It says the Attorney General may assist a prosecuting attorney if requested.
Why is that necessary? Why not just let the local district attorney handle it?
Because telecom crimes rarely happen in just one town. The hacker might be in Dallas, the victim in Houston, and the server in Austin. Which DA has jurisdiction.
Right. It's all over the map.
Plus, the crime might involve highly technical evidence decoding those tumblers or analyzing packet data.
Right. A small-town DA might not have a cyber forensics team.
Exactly. Small local prosecutors might not have the technical experts on staff. The Attorney General's office has those resources. This section creates the bridge for the state to step in and provide that technical and jurisdictional muscle.
It's calling in the cavalry.
That's a great way to put it.
So we have walked through the whole chapter, from the definitions of the invisible tools to the insiders, the manufacturers, the thieves, the sharers, and the spoofers. What are the big takeaways for you here?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the law treats virtual property access codes, signals, bandwidth, just as seriously as it treats physical property.
Maybe even more so.
In fact, in some ways more seriously because of the potential for scale.
Right, you can steal a lot more with a computer script than you can with a crowbar.
Exactly. And the second takeaway is the danger of aggregation and verification cost.
Those are the big ones.
The idea that small thefts add up to felonies and that causing a panic costs you real money. People often think digital crime is low stakes if they just do a little bit here and there. Texas law explicitly says, no, we will add it all up and you will pay for the cleanup.
That is a sobering thought, and I think the distinction between the different roles is smart. It punishes the maker of the tool, the manufacturer, differently than the user, the thief, and differently than the insider, the employee.
It's very targeted.
It covers all the bases.
It creates a comprehensive net.
Here is my final thought for you to mull over as we wrap up. We talked about the definition of telecommunications device. It includes any machine that facilitates telecommunications. In 1997, that was a pager or a modem. Today, it's your refrigerator, it's your car, it's your watch, it's your doorbell.
It's your pacemaker.
Exactly. So as everything becomes a telecommunications device, this law expands to cover almost everything in our lives.
Everything is connected.
So if I hack my own coffee maker to use unauthorized pods, and that coffee maker connects to Wi-Fi to verify the pod, have I technically manufactured a counterfeit telecommunications device under this broad definition.
If you altered it to acquire service without the provider's consent, strictly speaking, you might be walking a very fine legal line.
A fine line indeed.
Yeah.
That is where we leave it today, a world of invisible signals and the very visible laws that govern them. Thank you so much for diving deep with us.
It was a pleasure.
Don't forget to subscribe, check the website, and stay safe out there in the digital ether. See you in the next deep dive.